This is Sophia Manucheri, and this is my cultural bag. The experience that has shaped most of my interpersonal communication skills comes from communicating with my family members and spending quality time with them. Working on arts and crafts with my cousin, or working with food and cookies, such as making orange juice out of the oranges in the garden. Me showing my cousins and brother how to play video games and tennis, and showing my other family members and friends how to play tennis and volleyball too. Me and my family members have very strong bonds. I was always one teaching them while they were avid learners of the things I taught them. I did not know until the first time I taught someone to do something that I could actually have an effect on someone's knowledge, which highly boosted my confidence and self-knowledge. What I'm going to show you is a picture of me and my grandmother. We were praying in Farsi. It's called namaz. Namaz means prayer. And this is just the opposite of what I was explaining. This is my grandmother teaching me how to do something. I have schizophrenia, which has made my life a little more stressful in regards to others' images of me. People always thought I was shy and didn't have much values for friendship. This lack of confident attributions to my personality trait made it hard for people to even think that I wanted friends, or that I even needed them. I used to get laughed at in high school for being socially awkward, having a clumsy dress and hairstyle, and did not care for anything but school. But having no friends made people think I was stuck up or afraid for insults. I'm not saying I would ever be friends with some of these people. In fact, most certainly not. However, it is an innocent bystander who could also assume that I was pretty, since I was pretty and modest, that I did not need friends. In my life, I was used to having people approach me not even expecting it. Those were my friends, and that was not necessarily what I expected, but I had gotten used to it. When I got into high school, I was much more shy and did not have the nicest classmates. Although I do not care for befriending bullies, followers, or fake people that I refer, given they wish to fulfill that label, I was still having trouble making friends with people that are basically good to have as friends. Even I refer to as people that are nice and share common perspectives with me, people I can teach things to and learn from. If you cannot learn from your friendships, my opinion is you should not continue being friends. That is the whole point of having friendships. And rather than superficial norms being used to dictate us, superficial meaning falling under the category of norms, such as if they don't go to parties or drink, well, I laugh and will not be friends with them. Or if they dress revealing, I'll never talk to them. So for the sake of recovering from friends outside my family, in a nation where being in company of others is highly viewed as the norm for people my age, I kept obsessing about my social life, given how lonely I was and my lack of self-esteem I demonstrated towards my dress code. So knowing this, my uncle gave me this book called How to Deal with Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie that helped me surpass the obstacle of making friends with good company, people that think in a positive way, are modest like I am, people I care to pay attention to instead, and made my journey with schizophrenia not lonely. This is a copy of the book he gave me. I know it's a little warm, but this is how he gave it to me, and I feel like that's very important to me to present it this way because that is how I remember this book being given to me. It's very beautiful in condition it is, but in a way it's a bit torn. That's okay though. The person who gave me this book passed away a few years ago. Was my uncle on my dad's side. Sadly, he passed away the night of my brother's graduation from high school. Nonetheless, he inspired me and spent a lot of time taking note of the fact that I was depressed and lack of friendships outside my family. I was very antisocial, with exceptions to my cousin, one who's his daughter, my cousin Nikki. The influence brought upon my cousin and my uncle always provided me with a sense of hope that I am not alone in this world. I think I admire the fact that my uncle and I clearly kept this book for over 30 years, given the book was published in 1981, and this copy that I have now still serves as an antique and a source of written knowledge about society, social norms, friendships, and communication that brings greatness to all relationships, impersonal to interpersonal. I ended up making a lot of college friends thanks to the book's advice. I'll never forget this book or my uncle. To further conclude, more importantly, this book gave me an outer experience of being socially interactive and made others believe in the power of my friendly attributes and made the world less lonely for people like me. In other words, I was seen as socially awkward, but now people view me as highly communication competent, socially competent, or relationship competent. What are some of the things that represent myself, my real self, and my presenting self? I play guitar and make songs, which I think is symbolic because I know that my songs are not reflective of anything that has happened to me necessarily in this life. So here's my guitar. I'll show it to you just right now. See? This is my guitar. My friend drew this picture on my guitar. See? I know it is very much rather an approach guided by external muses and it kind of gives me a sense of having an alter ego. Rather than living up to the ego I present, the embrace of my alter ego, who I am not. After all, it is art. Most people are surprised that my relationships are not as long-term since that is what I write about, but that is all right with me. It is my art to present to humanity not only what you can discern, but also that which you cannot immediately discern. If I committed to performing only art that is depictive of me, I would become very bored and frustrated and feel attached to always solving myself. I would say my presenting self is much more assertive and codependent, whereas my true self is independent and shy. I believe it influences my identity needs, like what was discussed in Unit 1, because it makes me feel aware and accepted by others for who I am, not, and who I am. What are our hobbies that I enjoy? I enjoy tennis. As a matter of fact, every year that I have ever played, I've been awarded Most Improved, mostly in high school and once in El Camino, which I will show you a trophy of. Okay? Just an example is a trophy on the table that I'm typically hanging in my room. So this is my tennis trophy from El Camino. It says Most Improved 2017 El Camino College. So the trophy is from the year 2017 when I was in the El Camino tennis team. I enjoy playing tennis because it is very self-paced, or the lone star that I am in terms of being an athlete, lone star athlete, become over the generations, and it's almost like doing yoga, but it's a sport, it's a team sport, and also individual sport, depending what aspect of the game you're playing, singles or doubles. It gives me more time to meditate while in a game scenario. That's what I mean when it sounds like yoga in a way. I decide ultimately not just the coach or my teammates what decisions I make during the plays, but of course the coach guides us too. Like I mentioned before, it's also an analogy for life, so I explain those things. They learn a lot of things from someone, but if you want to be independent, you have to have some autonomy. That's where I find most autonomy. Okay. Unlike volleyball, of course, which is more focused on team effort and doing exactly what the coach says. I also own a MIDI player, which doesn't even require me to play the piano. I see it as a major form of stress relief. Here's my MIDI player. Cool. What are some artifacts that represent you and your culture? I have to say that the tea set known as the samovar is representative along with the Filipino Barbie. The samovar I saw was something interesting. My dad always told me the samovar was originally Russian. See, this is samovar. Sorry, I forgot to tell you that. It means self-brewer. They are also called water warmers. They're usually made up of elements such as copper and brass, or even silver and gold. I love tea just as much as Persians do. I drink a lot of tea, and yeah. In Iran, we refer to it as chai when Americans involve in the form of chai tea lattes, but the samovar is meant for Persian black tea and other Persian teas. Obviously, it's not like a chai tea latte, it's much stronger than that. That's why I found that interesting. I'm almost sad. It represents you because I feel that everyone's cultural art is a reflection of not how significant they are only, but how diverse they are, and how the beauty of the nations are a reflection. The nation's art is a reflection of the nation's people. The nation obviously values a lot of these elements, brass and gold. They're very elaborate with their artifacts. And they knocked it an artifact at one point in time, so it's beautiful either way. Another item I mentioned was a Filipino Barbie. See this? Filipino Barbie. I got this Barbie as a gift on my 7th birthday, which although it was such a long time ago, is still not the Filipino Barbie that was first made, but it is pretty old, so there you go. I can though tell you that the first Filipino Barbie was issued in 1991. By the time I got it, it was 1997, so that was 6 years off or whatever. It's a symbol. I'm just joking about that. But it is 6 years off. I got it in 1997 when I was 7 years old. It is a symbol in my eyes of how beautiful Filipino women truly are, that our culture is beautiful in a unique, significant way, just like any other culture. What has shaped my communication with family members? Our language is what shaped the way I communicate with my family. I do not know how to write in Farsi, but I do know some words, basically verbally, not in the form of writing. I learned how to, which I think is kind of ironic, but I will hopefully one day learn it. I learned how to speak quite a bit from my cousin Nikki. She was 4 and I was 8 when we first met. We had a very hard time understanding each other. Then she would ask me if I understood her, and eventually I did, and we both learned each other's language from each other. I also had my cousin Natalie English as well. She's also very close to me. My aunt taught me how to write numbers up until 100, that is Nikki's mom, when I was 7, and I learned very quickly. So, I'll show you a piece of paper, and these are numbers, and they're symbols, and they're a word. So, 10 is this. It's called death in Farsi. 1 is this. It's called yet in Farsi. 2 is this. It's called do in Farsi. 3 is this. It's called se in Farsi. 4 is chahar. It's called chahar in Farsi. 5 is panj. See, it's like an upside down heart. It's panj. 6 is sheesh. There you go, it's sheesh. 7 is hat. That's a V, hat. 8 is hashed. Upside down V. There you go. Cool. And then 9 is no. There you go. Cool. What are the things that made me who I am today? I would say my poetry made me who I am today. For instance, when I said I wrote 300, when I was sad, I wrote 300 poems in 1 year while going through depression accompanied by schizophrenia. Now I'll read one of my poems. I know you by heart is what it's called. So here it goes. I know you by heart and not mention my brain. Remove sunshine and all you gave was rain. I know what you are as an embarrassing sort of vain, as you attempt to make my mind go insane. Oh, on me, though you may have tried to leave a stain, from giving you credits to harm done, I'll always and never refrain. My sight for you, I will do anything but allow or maintain. A head filled with angry fever is what I fully contain. Because of you, nothing in my world is sane. Like I always say to you, stay in your own lane. It is for your selfish benefits that twistedly leads to selfish gain. You will never, in our eyes, know the true meaning of pain. Until you have been the poor man with nothing but a walker and a cane. You don't know those things, do you? To me, into the dirt you go. As to myself, I cleanse and renew. By Manocheri Mauricio. My first name is Sophia. My last name is Manocheri. I just want to make sure that this one stays safe. That's why I wrote it that way. And the credit portion. So there you go. Well, that wraps it up. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation.